Uh, it's me, Lord Volkhark. And I kind of feel I've had a sobering thought today, or at least a subject matter was brought up, and it slammed me in my head. And, I want to share. The reason I want to share is because it was very impressive to me. And I can't find it. It's not going to come up automatically. Aha. I watched the movie The Experiment, which is the one highlighted right here. Add that to my list. The movie The Experiment is very interesting. By the way, Netflix, backing me for anything. Very interesting movie. I was watching the Siren afterwards, or started to kind of wanted to finally just vent. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna vent. And what am I venting about? The subject matter of control in our society, and it could be a control that is actually a non-conformist structure or a conformist structure. So when I speak about control, I have an experience in my livelihood that shows signs of control in a very subliminal way. So this gentleman who experimented with, electric shocks to, I'm sure everybody's heard it. It is a very well promoted case. I've heard about this research before. I was very impressed, and he gave very good totalitarian results. Administered fake electric shocks to a gentleman for non-compliance, and in compliance, the other individual would actually administer the electric shocks. That's a very shocking reality, because it was never proven to be ill uh, promoted. Most people say that because they're not informed, these individuals that they're not informed that this is a fake result that they're doing it. But to me, how do you promote honesty in an experiment trying to find honesty if they know what is expected of them? Because it does create its own guidelines of control. So that therefore, there's another reality of control. So in conformist control, it's very shocking to think that I've allowed myself to become in that. And then there's shocking evidence of what really is going on in a sidebar. And that is how I dress, how I act. Um, Thank you for the ad, man. Thank you very, very much for the ad. So, how I dress, how I act, and who I am as an individual. And I look at it and I have moments where I dourly hate who I have to be in these control moments, which is are moments of, my own employment or when I'm at my employer. And then I come to here. I have created this myself. This entire outline you see here is my design. And then I asked somebody to design that little Lord Volkhark little icon thing there. But I asked and requested and gave ideals of what I wanted, and then I saw it and I liked it, and I never questioned it. So, what is the rationale that control is? Does this mean that I have moments between what I give to these these empowering factors, these people, and then what I give to myself? And I question virility of. You're always going to question the virility of yourself. It is a very common reality. And when I say I question the virility of myself, I question what I lie to myself. Like, everyone lies to themselves. There are so many stages of lie to them. But I also question the reality of that I know I lie to myself, and then I actually do react against it. I come into work, and I don't want to be there. But I must be there, in my view, to gain this benefit. And so I tell myself, you have to be there. But is that a rationality of control that I've created for myself, or control that I was given, taught, and therefore controlled in a whole factor? I'm going to say the word control a lot, guys. I hope it was. And I'm going to try to lackluster out humor because it's a different reality of it all. So when you see the humanity that people on here, on Twitch, have created, people on YouTube have created, are we looking at the artist's self-control? We're not really shown completely what we should be doing, but we do it. And then we get, some people will give us guidelines. There's amazing guidelines that I've received that have been slightly helpful. And I've improved. I have. I hope I have greatly improved for everyone. But what made me want to feel that I improved? Because I wanted to do more? For me, I write. I have moments of writing. And I felt it very important to keep a notebook every year. Try to tell myself so hard, fill it. And there was 2 years I just didn't do it. And I felt bad about that. That was something I created for me, but I don't share in abundance. I do this for me, and then I enjoy sharing with others because there are others that want the same reality. They want somebody to be, and the horrible phrases I'm going to use is presence in the moment. So at a moment, we can be, was the definition of presence, or above presence, because in the anthill, you see it walk, and see them walk in perfect lines, but if you're above them and you can see them walk in perfect lines, you admire from above the anthill. And what does that say? That person that is above it, or the individual that is above it, is different, or that the people down below are different than the individuality, even though they are individual. It's a hard rationality. There was a recent shit article. I'm going to call it a shit article because it was an online article that was probably horribly written, never really considered going into depth, that a gentleman considered at current times right now, medieval times. And he gave reasoning what it actually looks like to be the conduct of medieval times when you rationale what we see in the fantasy to see what we are now. And you see the lack of wisdom and the lack of pursuit. You see all these things that are crushing in society, and these are definitions of controlling factors. So what if what I'm actually looking at is I'm one of the deviants? Because that's a different case of what it is. When you're something else than what is supposed to be, you're a consideration of a deviant. A consideration of difference. And I don't see that as a bad thing, but it can be a relative bad amongst a communal whole. And we look at this in society, we look at it as, difference is bad. We see the insane, the definition of what's insane. Best definition I've ever heard for insane. I'm going to give you my definition from best what I've heard. This could be ill-formed. I'm going to try my damnedest. Best definition I've ever heard for insanity is non-functional. Because an individual cannot function on a high level that is worthwhile functionality, he is considered this definition of insanity, where all of us have different dysfunctional levels. and we just happen to be lower than the individual that is higher dysfunctional. And so that's the best definition of insanity I've ever heard, because it makes more relative sense. It's true. We all have an insanity. And me even, accepting that as somebody else's rationale instead of my rationale is an act of insanity. And I look at it and I ponder, with my best definition here, what else is relative to my own personal insanity or grasp of insanity? What else is others around me as well? And that could be trying to defer. So what I'm looking at right now is, what is the creative in the mix of the control, and what is truly a deviant of within that same realm of creative. And it's very much a human. And I mean this because we can't speak with other species. We have no true. We can watch all we want, but we cannot interact enough with societies that are around us to defer away from the fact of what we understand of humanity instead of what we understand of the ant. But we can rationale back from what we see from the ant to us in some ways, but we don't communicate across. So when I say human, that's our rationality of what we are. And it's very important we should see it. We do have the other alien species around us, so we can give that a definition. Humanity is a society of a whole. But because we created the whole, does that mean that we've lost the individual who makes more amongst us? It's very why I would say the medieval age is, yes, a correct theory, because I'm looking at technology that is going slower in advancement, and it's on base layer of what they understand. And the drive is very small. Personally, in best opinion, I'm amazed we're still on fossil fuels. We could have progressed so. I mean, electrical cars have existed for so long. Gas production has existed for so long, yet we have not made it more efficient as much as we want to believe it's more efficient. It's not. We know that boilers run on heat. The best word I can ever tell you. We made trains that ran on heat. And then we made cars that ran on pressure, slightly heat, but only made it run on part of the heat. So now we can create cars that run on water and then dissipate the structure. Basically, let me base layer this technology on this. The fucking water boiler that makes the engine run. So water can run a car. At that base layer moment, why are we still using gas? I don't know. There's no rationale that actually explains why we should still be using gas at that moment. That was a discovery that should have changed everything. When we made the better battery, we should start making more electrical cars, and it's because maybe somebody else is controlling us. We like to bitch that that's a reality, but we have never. If we have proving it, then what stopped us from changing that? I mean, us. There's a crowd. There should be a crowd because they don't. We're not the only ones that look at this, and that's relative. A reality of when you look at control, these are control factors for a whole society that has stopped. And again, the word medieval, Dark Ages, the Dark Ages fit in with that. And it's frightening to think of that. It is very frightening to think. I live very close to what the hell? I'm gonna name drop, and I'm gonna be horrible with this name drop. I live very close to not NASA, but I'm in Texas. We're very close to NASA. I live very close to SpaceX. I see them all the time with their shirts and everything like that. And I finally couldn't resist, and I finally asked one of them. I go, okay, so Virgin Galactic. This is one of the relatives of time when I see the word Dark Ages fits in with this. I go, Virgin Galactic has a ship that hold on, let me get here's the best. And this is I'm having to use the board, guys. I'm gonna get all logical in this. Let me switch over to a bigger screen so that you can see me really. Oh, there's the mouse. There we go. So that one's gonna work a lot better. Got a bigger screen and a lot more visibility. By the way, I went to college for literature, not really science. It's just been a hobby in mine, so give me some benefit of a doubt into what I actually see and what I understand. And let me see if I can't do this. I'm sorry it's taking so damn long. I had some seriously notes about what should have went down today or what I need to do with some content. But anyway. All right. So, let's say this is the surface of the Earth right here. Oh, that's horrible. Can't really. Oh, there we are. That's the surface of the Earth. All right. So for a very long time, when we launched a spaceship, we launched with kind of a curve that curved off and then left what is essentially the atmosphere. And we did that for a very long time. We figured it out, and we did it with a large amount of force. So we did it with a large amount of force, so capital F right there. Large amount of force to equal out. And then gentleman from Virgin Galactic came along and saw that we would land, we would come back from the atmosphere. All right, it's going up. So we would come back from the atmosphere, and we could land at a vertical line structure that was less of the force applied down, and we could land on runways. And that took a while for us to do that. And he asked, why could we not take planes and fly from the surface of the Earth and exit the atmosphere with less force? So, smaller force we're going to put it as an F. Smaller F right there. So this is higher force for punishment against. And they told him, well, it's never been done, therefore, it can't be done. Well, that was insane because you could do an endless amount of research that has existed from the time that they finally started landing these bricks of space equipment on runways to long before that we'd figured out that we could get outside the atmosphere or above it. We made jets where you needed air supply because we reached so high, and stealth bombers and things like that. And so he made Virgin Galactic, and he made planes that went out of the atmosphere when they reached the perfect height and opportunity, and they used less force because they use our air pressure to reach it. And the logical environment that exists within this realm between here and here. Instead of fighting it with higher force, equaled less force to actually get up there. And he went against the grain, so he became the action of a deviant. And they still kind of berate the heck out of him. I believe that one of his planes didn't land right, didn't crash, didn't land correctly. And I want to say it's because actually one of the wheels did not come out. And you know what? How many times can we say in this last year that a lot of planes have wrecked? And it's probably because due to age or because of advancing technology. And maybe he had once or twice that a ship didn't land right, but didn't wreck and kill everybody. So why are we more concerned with that when we can count the death toll of astronauts and the millions of dollars of spaceships that we just exploded to fight upwards instead of go along with what we already exist in our environment? So we were fighting in almost a deviant form, while at the same time we could have used what we understood to create more. And I think that's what we should look at as a society is. I'm a big fan, as you see, Star Trek. And in Star Trek, it's a very accepting rationale of the society of the whole work together as the one against for the whole. The importance of the one is not its important definition, Spock term, but we still have people who are found in more popular in that definition of society. Why? Because we still create the definition of the human God, which is the person who's more important than the normal individual. And I don't know. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. So here we are in the Dark Age here, and again, I apologize for saying medieval age here. And we have separation of humanity. Okay, so separation of humanity going on right now. I need a bigger pen. Let me get a bigger pen. It's got a bigger writing surface. I can use this better. It's a smaller pen that has a bigger writing surface. I like that relative distance of that. That's amusing. All right. So we have groups of people born offset from one another, and their exposure created another individual group that were mixtures within the own group. And that has been going on since whenever the Earth started, with species as it goes along, and certain species intermixed and everything else like that. So we look at humanity as a whole right now. And what we're really seeing is they want to erase the line that intersects. But the problem is, these people at the edge here still exist. And there's arguments. And there's weird arguments when you live in this existence. And we have arguments of what? Separation of what's defined as race, even though we're one race is humanity. That is an action of insanity, because we've already created new societies within the after the separation exposed itself, and yet we want to separate them, but it's impossible to do now. These are examples of almost a crowd mentality for that, just because a lot of it is really crowd mentality. I live in the state of Texas. What was the huge argument that in the South? Let's see. The huge argument in the South was we lost. The rebel flag was removed in such a harsh manner, and yada yada yada. I wanted to look at people, and I go, I live in the state of Texas. Who the fuck? I don't live underneath the regular rebel flag. I live in the state of Texas underneath the United States flag. People went, well, it's a factor of history. I go, so is the Klan. And everyone's like, oh, that's not the same shit. That's not the same shit. Well, yes, including in biblical times, mythology, and everything else. These are all the same societies almost repeating in the circle that is history. Because history, starts at a point and intersects itself over and over again. And we get these flawed mentalities that just carry on. And a lot of it looks like it's... I'm horrible drawer. A lot of this looks like it's just I don't know, mythology that we create ourselves, rationality and mythology, cultural belief systems. I mean, it's so equated. And it's been all day today that I've really seen a lot of this. I should have been streaming today, guys, but I was building something for my girlfriend that was a simple, really, really simple, goddamn shelf. There we go. Shelf set that was a piece of crap. Horrible shelf, guys. It was horrible. Wood, and, here I was trying to figure out the problem, how to fix the accidental break that caused from it. It's horrible wood. And it took me a moment to realize with what I had in my environment and what was applied for the tools that I could do it definitely. And I did. And it didn't look that best, but I kept worrying about she wasn't going to like it because it was different. And it's because it was different that it would cause the worry. And at the same time, it finally clicked that it was like, why the fuck is that important? It's a tool. We apply too much to sometimes our tools. Like my PC case. I would have loved to paint the fucking side metal, but I don't. It's a tool. I left it blank because it was relatively what I needed. The case fits everything I need. I have potential to add on, and I did, and I'm still in the progress of adding on. So, that's an act of maybe deviancy, but there's got to be a group that sees in the same mentality in parts. Just because we are a pattern, which I love pattern mathematics, by the way, guys. Pattern mathematics is fucking insane. Because if you like the ultimate failure in pattern mathematics, explaining itself and the relativity of what exists. Genetics in oh god, I'm gonna go to the board. Not a teacher, I swear to God, but I'm just using this. All right, so if this was genetic line of student A, and then this was genetic line of oh god, oh that might have worked. Student B. How long would it take if they intermixed, or as a whole of society, before you saw the same pattern of genetics create itself again? And that's the same thing for like fingerprints and everything, hair, facial, and everything. We want to believe in the mythos that we are separate, or that the what is it, the snowball theory that the snowflake theory, that we're all individual snowflakes of separate reality. But the problem is, even if you took time and captured every snowflake, whatever time, even if it took 1 in 5 billion, you'll find another one of the same snowflake. And I don't know. It's very strange that it's not seen as a normal rationale of this. I see a lot, and it could be because my own filters are shitty, and that could be a factor of my own personal insanity. My own filters are some shitty, filters that make me not see the world around me in certain patterns, or they make me see higher amount of what is defined as normal, and that's my own personal insanity. But I can't be the only one, because others have said the same shit, and it's a repeatance though, so it didn't create as much. It caused doubt. I have no doubt without that experiment that I just said that I watched the friggin' movie about. That experiment gave more thought and created more and still is relevant because it has never changed for our society, that we are evolving. And we are evolving. As much people will look at us and go, we're using fucking cell phones, we're losing this social gambit that we have. And then we look at the reality of, like, one of the experience brought up. He took a picture of a crowd of people at a train station and repeated this, I'd say about a month, taking the same picture, and you're seeing the same amount of people come back every month. So finally, they got on the train, and these students got on the train and asked, by reviewing pictures, who do you recognize anybody in this picture? And they would point to themselves, and then they would point to these other people, and they go, do you know their name? And they go, no. And this is before the invention of cell phones. So, well, the invention of cell phones en masse. So, the definition of cell phones have created a new numbed reality is a horrible falsehood. Just because we created our own benumbed reality long ago with what we had to accept is what was going on around us. We lived in villages at first, in tribes that were small enough that we knew one another. And when the tribes grew larger and the villages grew larger and became cities, we knew less and less. And we knew less and less of our environments, because we can live for so long in a location, you'll still find, I want to say even under 10 miles, you'll find somewhere new that you've never been. And that is a relative reality of what has happened. It's a progressive of the larger, and the larger has created a new environmental rule of exposure or acceptance of reality of lack of exposure for a whole. And that is just the reality we've lived with as it's gone along. It didn't start with the cell phone. It didn't start with the TV. I like, what is the movie? Thousand Ways to Die in the West. The hoop toy. It makes us not focus. That didn't start it either. So the rationale is not right that we created it suddenly. That these are new and sudden changes that just slammed into our environment. No. What it is an environmental reality that we've had for so long. But every time somebody brings it back up, it flashes anew. So that historical spiral happens. And, this is what's driving me nuts. This is what made me come on here. This is what made me rant. And I'm thank you for the gentleman that followed. And you know what? There's so many moments that I will flash out of I see this. And there's so many moments that I see this and I focus. And it makes me want more of an understanding of what's surrounding me. And I do my best to, and I pick and choose. I'm not going to lie, I pick and choose what I choose to understand. Like everyone else. So maybe it's a challenge of myself. Maybe this is something that actually I see as an importance to share. And I don't know why I decided to share. I really decided I wanted to record it. I felt I needed to record it. But I shared live because it's easier for me to upload. But in the long run, I've also shared with individuals that haven't joined in the conversation, but I've greatly enjoyed. I don't know, for sharing something that seemed relevant. It disquiets me, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. Because we need to have disquiet at moments. Because it creates more than just one pattern. It creates more. The more patterns that we create, the more society we make, the more there is. And there's more discovered because we see more. Thank you. Thank you. Um, I don't know about that. I appreciate the words. I do like to write. I do like to think more than probably I should. And I don't know. I appreciate I appreciate the I don't know what else to say. There is so much more. Thank you. Um Thank you for letting me share. Maybe this is just a vent or an aha moment, but I find I can do this, and I don't know if that's I don't know what the words over there otherwise. Thank you. And I'm gonna upload this to YouTube. I'm gonna cut and scene and everything else like that. Cut and scene this out. Um, but thank you very much. It's felt a lot easier than writing it down. And I guess that's the gratiating of technology. If anybody has suggestion for or thoughts, I have a Twitter, a Facebook, a Tumblr account, and I'd love to share back and forth. You have a wonderful. Holy wow! Oh yeah, it's a wonderful poster. I know. That's actually the no. It's actually the webcam has a buzz effect. Hmm. Okay. Wow. Okay. Do you want me to touch it? Because I can show you that it's actually above everything. And it's nothing wrong with it. Wow. After having Appreciated conversation. I've never really had to. So, you know what? Actually, you know what? Wonder Beaver just gave me an act of control by conformity for a society as a whole. And actually, the same thing for all these trolls did right now. They are doing something that they feel is right, but they're actually doing it because others have taught them that it's right. And it shows them that they're doing something that they feel empowers them, but it actually makes them less because it's not them that's doing it. It's the society that they've been taught to. These children, I assume as children, are, you know, definitely. Oh, yes, I do have hobbies. I have a hobby of engineering. I enjoy doing engineering. That's why I've. Oh, wow. Yeah, try this one. Quad up. What? Um. Wow. Um. Well, this is very interesting. Am I getting rated? Thank you. Uh, Small raid is something. I never. Oh, I was talking about societal control, and it was meant to be a cut section for an upload instead of just a whole share. I was actually I've already got a couple of things made. I just ended up watching a lovely movie. Um, but wow, rarely do I get this many people in the room, so I appreciate it. I don't know. To be honest, with the creative section here, I'd like to see some people do some more stuff than just the basics. Just because I don't see why we shouldn't. And that's the relative thing. Here are people rating down or choosing the way that I should go, at least for them, or trying to enrage me. And it makes me wonder why, other than so general question: what engineering are you involved in? I have a very big uh, enjoyment of robotics engineering. So I've gone on the data side and I've done the mechanical side. And that's just because I grew up, believe it or not, with a person who loved to work on cars and made me wonder how they worked. And I guess that influenced. So that's an influential, definition of what created. And I mean, I know I'm not the best impressive speakers. I try my best. I enjoy questioning. I don't think anybody should not, especially when you question. Um, I didn't take engineering in school, so it was never meant to be a career. So engineering has landed me. I do it as a hobby. Um, I try and figure out, in the simplest definition, how things work, and then I said earlier in the diatribe, I write, and so I use like I can't remember the name of the gentleman that's considered the father of sci-fi, and he used science to create sci-fi. Okay. Um, and he used science to create things and inspire more. And I personally believe that no, I like to learn on it, and then I guess my only demos are, like I said, I love to write, and I put them into my writing, and in my writing, that's where I put a design. I've tried to make like they basically made a theory that I had, and it might have been because it was something else I had learned around me, that a man that you could build this functioning engine that recursored backed uh, its energy to provide itself energy and over, and it works. And I see that like I was a big Gundam Wing fan. I saw that as a way to make those move. So I created a character design where you see him um, examine the engine that is broken. Well, all right. So, Jeff, I have a serious question. Does that mean that you see that as a point of control, just like your definition, like Sheepman's here, who created a point of control, said, let's build a ladder, and then you posted it, and then Sheepman posted it again, and now you're posting something about Obamacare? Does that mean that that's your acceptance of the control that you've been created for? I mean, this is the way you've raised yourself as a person. I don't think he's still in the room. And the only reason I ask that is because if we're talking about control, this is a really good example of it. Okay, so here's one. So Trump's for the people. Which people, other than what he defines, is his people? And that system as a whole, it should be an influence of a mass, but the problem is mass is influenced by the individuality of itself, of the ultimate control, which is money. Um, and that's, there. I mean, I love this guy's name, Sheepman. I mean, he's the ultimate follower, I guess, which makes him the lowest person in the totem pole of what's going on right now. Is this an example of? Let me see if I can get this on screen. We use this on screen. It's not that big. That's small. Let's see if we can't go over to. Uh, nope. Oops. No. Ah, there we go. So we can see what's being said. We get these reactions, um, and we get, I guess, what's supposed to be baiting. And oh wow. Oh, sorry, I didn't have the ad open. Let's. Thank you for the ad. Um, what should we say about? I mean, things like this. This is a mass crowd that I'm guessing is working together under something, or they've created their own hierarchy. Like the most person I've seen speak the longest was it Jeff K, and he's still here. And then we get the most brash has been this guy right here. I don't know, it's a long one. Is that from something? Vice? Just out of curiosity. That was a very long one. That's very long. Thank you for the follow, Celebrity Deathmatch. I'm sorry I did not have the alert up. Um, thank you for the follow. And let's see if we can't create that alert real quick, even on this screen. That way we have it on. A very long one for me. Wow, that's. Oh, wow. I definitely need to. Hold on. Let me add. Let's do. Oh, there it is. Follower alert. And there you are. By the way, guys, it is very easy to make a follower alert. If you ever decide to stream yourself, it is very easy, very helpful tool to. There we go. There we are. It's a very easy and helpful tool. It helps you share with everybody else. Celebrity Deathmatch, by the way, I enjoyed that show. I wish they would bring it back. I wish somebody independently would make it themselves. And I really don't think they're going to. Yeah. Um, it's controlled society of everything else. Like a good reference. Look at this. We've got a lot of people referencing out sexual material, and I guess that's empowering for them. And it actually shows them how young they are because they think it's an empowering thing because they're not allowed to do it in reality. Just the same reason we like Celebrity Deathmatch. We don't get to do that, or we watch that and we get watch the slaughter, and we don't get to do that in reality. There could be a placated reality of what we, supplement ourselves into. And that's a controlling factor. I don't know. It's a very difficult call. I said I like engineering. I've tried my hand in sociology. It's questioning. It's more of a questioning. Um, I don't know. Should we know? No. I don't think we'll ever know in completion of one task or the other. We only learn so much. Uh, and I like that because it means I get to learn more.
Until, well, we die.
I wouldn't want to know everything because I don't feel you learn from knowing. You just know everything. Does that mean you try to apply it? Well, apparently Jeff just saw the movie Tusk, so that's interesting. um, I don't know. I've been on here a little bit longer than I actually thought I would be. I thought I'd pop in and do a recording and cut out. I am going to tell everybody in the room that on the 15th through the 16th, coming up of next month, of next month, we will be having a 24-hour show. Oh, it's because it's very grotesque. That's why it's got such bad reviews. It's very discomforting. But yeah, there's going to be a 24-hour show. We're going to try to reach, which, by the way, I appreciate the guys who added me tonight. So we've got 38. I'm trying to reach from 50 to 100. And, you know, I'd love to be able to do that. And the real reason I want to do that is because I'm going to the Dallas Comic Con, and I want to see if it's worthwhile to stream live while I'm at the event. I have spoken to some of the people who actually run the event, and they've kind of given me just a straight okay if you want to bring your own equipment. Whether or not I'm going to have to pay for a table is kind of up to that. And I don't know, I just kind of want to record it. I might stream it directly to YouTube. I might just stream it here so we can share everything else that's going down. I know this year Stanley's going, and I'm really want to meet him just because he's an older gentleman, and I can kind of see, him passing away in the next 3 to 4 years, just because he has gotten to make it a really long time. No, I don't do cosplay. I love to meet a lot of different cosplayers because the definition of what I was talking about earlier, Control, they're a deviant of society just because they do create what they see. And a lot of them will cosplay these so different than what we've seen. And I don't do song requests really, but yeah, they do a lot of different things, and it's very amazing to watch them. They're very well thought out, and it's cool to see them. I might set that up on some days when I'm actually doing a PC build, because every so often I will do. So, guys, you might actually see me do PC builds every so often on here. For the guys that I try to throw in the philosophy side just because I enjoy it. It makes thing different. And I don't know. Here's more. But yeah, I enjoy hanging out with cosplayers. I've dressed up as Cthulhu before for an event, just to have some fun. But yeah, guys, if I get over to 50 followers to 100, one, I will increase the amount of days that I do things like this, and two, I will definitely do live up there at Comic Con, which would be fun. Sub-localized Comic Cons, guys, is a lot better than thinking about going to the California one, because the California one has been way overfed. When you can't buy tickets in 20 minutes of a release date for tickets online, it's a sign that maybe we should go to our own that we have around us, even if it's within 100 miles. It's usually a lot better to do that, just because you can go and identify, and you might meet more into your social groups of what we're not used to finding sometimes. And so that's a suggestion. I did a local one. I always tell everybody I do stream out of Waco, Texas, and Waco, Texas had a Comic Con, and I went, and it was really low key. I'd gone to one in Vegas before that, and it was a lot bigger. So then when I did Dallas, I was questioning what would go on, and then Dallas was huge, and it was great, and that's why I want to even share. I want people to come to the Dallas one. I want people to come to the Waco one, because it would be, awesome. And so, I'm doing a 24-hour show, again, 5th through the 16th of next month. Find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter, find me on Google+, find me on Tumblr, and you'll keep getting details. Definitely pictures of my little projects. Self-invention is not always my big tool of going to, but every so often I will take up a project. I really want to do building a clock, but it's something small, and that's my personal thing. I stream because I choose to share, in the same time because I choose. No one really suggested that I should stream. I just decided, what the hell? And I've enjoyed it for half a year now, and I'd like to share more events with people. And so I appreciate my 2 new ads. I will do my best to put more content in there. Do come back for the 24-hour stream. I'm going to call it a night because it actually is late, and this went a little bit longer than I expected. But hey, I got into a wonderful conversation. Got to see some very interesting flash mob of people, apparently on the creative section. And to be honest, I was amazed. I think it was about 13 people in the room, and I was fucking impressed. I don't normally always get that, but I enjoy even having one. So thank you. And Celebrity Deathmatch, Rituals, you guys are awesome. I'm going to cut into the earlier section, actually make it available speech. Check my other videos on here and on YouTube. Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are, in this planet we call, or on this planet we call Earth.